I shared half my meal. The alien princess sat next to me and whispered, "You ray different." Buildings looked alive, glowing softly in the sunlight, and bridges curved like ribbons between towers. He had never seen anything like it. Even in his wildest dreams back on Earth, nothing had prepared him for this. He took out his small pack of rations and unwrapped a square of soft bread. He wasn't hungry, but he needed something to keep him going. Humans were rare here. In this alien capital, most people had tall, thin bodies with shiny skin that reflected light. Their faces were sharp, with bright eyes that seemed to look right through you. Alex had been sent as an engineer, a simple job of fixing machines and drones, but being here made him feel small. The aliens looked at him as if he were something from a story, not real. He opened the bread and broke it into 2 pieces. He ate one and looked at the other, thinking of keeping it for later. As he stared down at the glowing city below, a small creature darted between the plants near him. It had 6 legs and bright orange eyes, moving too fast for him to catch it. It stopped near the bread, looking at him with something that seemed like curiosity. Alex laughed quietly. "Hey, little guy, want some?" he said, breaking his bread again. He held out a small piece and the creature sniffed it. Then, to Alex's surprise, it grabbed the bread with its tiny claws and ran off, disappearing into the leaves. He smiled, shaking his head. "Well, at least someone is happy," he muttered, but the moment made him feel strange. Here he was on an alien world, and he had shared something as simple as his food with a creature. He wondered if anyone else would have done the same. Most humans were careful. Most humans would not have taken the risk. But Alex had always been different. He liked helping, even if it meant putting himself out a little. He leaned back, watching the sky turn pale as the sun moved higher. That was when he noticed her. A group of aliens was walking across the garden paths. They were tall, with long, flowing robes that shimmered like water. And at their center was a young female, taller than most of the others, with golden eyes that shone like sunlight on metal. Her skin had a soft glow, and her hair fell in long waves, golden brown in color. She was beautiful, but not in a way Alex could fully understand. There was a presence to her, something that made the people around her pause and bow. He froze for a moment. He had heard about the royal family, the rulers of this alien world, but he had never expected to see one up close. And now here she was, walking straight toward him. Alex quickly looked away, feeling nervous. He had no idea what she might think of a human sitting alone, eating bread. Maybe she would be angry that a human was so close to the royal gardens. Maybe he had already made a mistake by being here. The princess stopped a few feet away and looked down at him. Her eyes were bright, not angry, but curious. Alex could feel the weight of her gaze, and it made him swallow hard. He had learned a few phrases in their language, enough to greet her politely if necessary. But now, with her looking directly at him, his tongue felt heavy. "Hello," he said finally, his voice small. He stood up, brushing crumbs off his clothes. He wanted to look confident, but he could feel his heart racing. The princess tilted her head slightly, as if studying him. Then she said something in her language. The words were soft and musical, almost like a song. Alex didn't understand the meaning, but he could feel the tone. It wasn't threatening, it was curious. He smiled awkwardly. "I'm Alex," he said. "I'm a human. I'm here to help with machines." The princess didn't move, but her eyes flicked down to the bread in his hands. He noticed her gaze lingered on it longer than it should have. It made him think she was curious about the simple human habit of eating. He realized that sharing food must mean something important in their culture. "Do you want some?" Alex asked, suddenly breaking the other half of his bread. He held it out toward her without thinking. The princess blinked. Her eyes widened just a little, and for a moment Alex thought she would refuse. Then slowly she leaned closer and took the bread with delicate fingers. She didn't eat it yet. She only looked at it, turning it slightly in her hand, as if it was the most interesting thing she had ever seen. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never shared food with a royal before, let alone an alien princess, but somehow it felt right. Somehow it felt like the first step toward something more important than machines, schedules, or assignments. The princess sat down next to him, carefully folding her long robe around her legs. Alex froze, unsure what to do. He had expected her to leave to go back to her group of attendants to resume the business of ruling. But instead, she stayed. "You're different," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the soft breeze. Alex blinked, startled. He looked at her, searching her face for a clue. Different, was that a compliment, an insult? He had no idea, but the way she said it didn't feel negative. I don't know, he said. I just try to be helpful, I guess. The princess's eyes softened. She didn't speak again immediately. She only watched him, as if she were trying to understand the human in front of her. Alex suddenly realized how rare this moment was. No one, alien or human, had ever looked at him like this before. Around them, the garden was alive with color. Flowers that glowed softly leaned toward the sun, and tiny creatures flitted between the branches. The city below hummed quietly with energy, and somewhere far off, a bell rang, signaling time for the royal court. But here in this small patch of floating garden, it felt as if the world had stopped. Alex broke the silence first. "Do you eat often here?" he asked, trying to make conversation. "I mean, with your people?" The princess tilted her head, considering. Then she said something softly in her language again. Alex didn't understand the words, but her tone carried meaning. She smiled, a small, gentle curve of her lips. And then she reached out and took a small bite of the bread. Alex watched, fascinated. He had never seen anyone eat like that. There was care in her movements, a kind of respect for the simple act of food. For humans, sharing a meal was common. For her, it seemed rare and precious. "You like it?" he asked, nodding toward the bread. Her eyes met his, bright and golden. "Yes," she whispered. "It is different and good." Alex laughed softly. He didn't know why he felt so nervous and happy at the same time. He had shared something small, almost meaningless, and yet it had connected him to someone from a world so far from his own. For the next hour, they sat quietly together, talking in broken phrases, gestures, and soft whispers. Alex learned her name, Leora. Leora learned that Alex had come from a world called Earth, far away, where humans lived and built machines. They didn't understand everything about each other, but somehow it didn't matter. At one point, a shadow passed over them. A royal attendant had come to fetch the princess. Alex felt his stomach tighten. He didn't want this moment to end, but he knew he couldn't stop her. Leora looked at him one last time before standing. "You are unusual," she said softly, her hand brushing his shoulder. "I want to see more." And with that, she walked away, her attendants following behind. Alex watched her go, feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear. He didn't know what would come next, but he knew that sharing a simple meal had changed everything. He looked at the half-eaten bread in his hand and smiled. Who knew a small gesture could make such a difference? He didn't feel alone anymore. He felt, noticed. And maybe, just maybe, he had earned a small place in a world that felt completely alien. Alex sat back, looking at the city and sky, thinking of Leora. He didn't know if he would ever see her again, but something told him this was only the beginning. The human had shared half his meal. The alien princess had noticed. And the universe, vast as it was, had suddenly become a little smaller. Alex could not stop thinking about Leora. Since that moment in the garden, he felt a strange excitement and curiosity. He kept remembering her golden eyes and the soft way she had whispered, "You're different." He had never met anyone like her before. Humans were rare here, and an alien princess even more so. Yet she had sat next to him, shared his space, and even eaten the bread he offered. It was more than he could have imagined. The next morning, Alex arrived early at the floating gardens. His assignment was to check the drones that maintained the delicate garden structures. Most humans would have been nervous being here, surrounded by aliens and royal attendants. Alex, however, felt determined. He wanted to see Leora again. Maybe she would be in the gardens. He carried his tools and walked carefully along the glowing paths. The wind whispered through the plants, carrying strange, sweet scents. Colors shifted as the sun rose higher, and he felt as if the world itself was alive. Alex paused near a fountain that sent sparkling liquid into the air. A few small creatures, like the one he had shared bread with yesterday, flitted around, chirping softly. He smiled and moved on, checking the drones one by one. After about an hour, he noticed movement near the central bridge. A group of aliens appeared, walking with purpose. Alex froze, recognizing the tall figure at their center, Leora. She was wearing a light gown that shimmered in the sunlight, and her hair moved softly in the breeze. She looked directly at him and smiled. Alex's heart raced. She was coming toward him. "Good morning," he said, his voice shaking slightly. He tried to sound calm, but it was impossible. "Good morning," she replied in her musical language, and then switched to the broken human phrases she had learned yesterday. "Alex, you work early." "Yes," he said quickly. I checked the drones, they keep the garden safe. He paused. I was hoping to see you. Leora's golden eyes softened and she nodded. I like seeing you too. Alex felt his chest tight. He had not expected her to say that. He was a human, small and ordinary compared to the elegance of the aliens, yet she wanted to see him. I finished the drones over there, he said, pointing to the far side of the bridge. I can walk with you if you want. She smiled, and without another word, she started walking beside him. Alex tried to keep pace. She was taller than him, and even her steps seemed effortless. As they moved, he noticed how she observed everything, the glowing plants, the flowing streams, and the small creatures that lived in the garden. She noticed details that even he had missed. You notice everything, he said. It's amazing. Leora looked at him, tilting her head. You notice too, she whispered, but differently. Alex smiled, feeling warm inside. She was right. Humans saw the world differently. They did not float above it like the aliens did. They touched it, moved through it, and learned by doing. Perhaps that was what made him different. They walked in silence for a while. Then Leora stopped near a narrow path that led to a hidden part of the garden. The path was lined with glowing vines and delicate flowers. This is a test, she said softly. Alex raised an eyebrow. A test, she nodded. My people, they want to know if you are careful, if humans can understand our ways. Alex felt a little nervous. He had fixed machines and drones before, but tests from alien royalty were different. He nodded. I will try, he said. I promise. Leora stepped aside and Alex entered the path. The ground was uneven with small gaps and rising platforms. He had to walk carefully, balancing his weight, or he could fall into the streams below. The vines above shifted slightly, as if alive, brushing against him gently. Alex laughed quietly. It felt like a challenge, but not a dangerous one, more like a puzzle. Leora followed him closely. Careful there, she whispered, pointing to a moving platform that swayed. Alex nodded and jumped carefully, landing softly. She clapped lightly, not loud, but enough to show she noticed. You are good, she said. Better than expected. Alex felt a little proud. He had not come here to impress anyone, but somehow he was, and Leora noticed. That mattered more than he could explain. They continued along the path. Soon they reached a part where the ground split into several directions, some leading to glowing flowers, others to small streams. Choose wisely, Leora whispered. Alex studied the paths. He noticed small footprints in the soft, glowing moss. He followed them carefully, stepping where the prints led. It was slow, careful work, but he felt in control. Leora watched him, her golden eyes wide with curiosity. You think before moving, she said softly. Humans, they rush, you stop and see. Alex smiled. It's safer, he said, and I like to see things. Leora nodded, clearly impressed. You are strange, she whispered, a small laugh in her voice. But I like it. They reached a small clearing with a sparkling fountain in the middle. A few creatures fluttered near it, glowing softly. In the center, a large plant had fallen, blocking the path forward. Alex looked at it. It was heavy, but not impossible to move. I can fix this, he said, kneeling down. He searched his pack and found a small tool, a lifting device for drones. Carefully, he attached it to the plant and lifted it, moving it aside. The path was clear. Leora gasped softly, covering her mouth. You solve problems differently, she whispered. Aliens would try to push it or move together. You use tools, Alex smiled. Humans like to think first, he said, then act. She nodded again, clearly impressed. Different, yes, you are different. The moment felt strange. Alex had never met anyone who said that to him. Not in this way, not with admiration and curiosity. He felt proud, but also nervous. Could she like him? Could she trust him? The path continued, leading to a small hill with a clear view of the city. Alex and Leora stood there, looking at the glowing towers below. He could see tiny vehicles moving along the bridges, tiny people walking in the streets. It was beautiful. You see differently, Leora whispered. Humans see beauty in small things. Aliens see patterns. I like your eyes. Alex felt his heart race. I like your world, he said softly. It's amazing and scary and beautiful. She smiled at him, and he noticed a softness in her eyes. It was not command or curiosity, but something warmer. Something that made him feel welcome. You understand me, she said. Other humans, they only look, they don't care. You care. Alex laughed quietly. I do care, he said. I care about people and about this world and you. Her eyes widened slightly and she looked down, brushing her hair back. Alex felt his chest tighten. He did not expect her to hear that, but somehow it felt right. Somehow it felt like the first moment they were truly connected. Suddenly, a rustling sound came from the bushes below. Alex turned, tense. Small creatures scattered, and from the shadows, a young alien official stepped forward. He looked at Leora and then at Alex, frowning. "Princess," the official said carefully, "you should not be walking here. Humans are not allowed beyond this area." Alex felt a cold tension. He had not meant to break any rules. He had only wanted to help and learn. Leora stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "I choose to be here," she said. "This human is allowed." The official blinked, surprised. "Princess, but—" Leora ignored him, turning to Alex. "Do not worry," she whispered. "I protect you." Alex felt relief wash over him. He had never felt this safe on an alien world before. He realized then that Leora trusted him. She had chosen him, a human, over the rules of her world. They continued along the path, eventually reaching the end. Alex looked back at the maze-like garden behind them. He realized that today was more than just a test. It was the beginning of something new, something that could change both their lives. "You passed the test," Leora said softly. "Not like others, you think and care, you are truly different." Alex smiled, feeling proud and amazed. He had not done it for praise, but the words warmed him. He realized something important: being human with all his flaws and habits was enough. He did not have to be perfect. He only had to be himself. Leora leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I want to see more of your world and of you." Alex's heart raced. He had not expected this, but he felt a deep joy. He nodded slowly. "I will show you everything I can." And in that moment, walking together through the strange, glowing garden, human and alien felt something neither of them could fully explain. A bond had formed. A bond that crossed worlds. The next day, Alex returned to the floating gardens early, carrying his small pack of tools. He had finished most of his assigned work, but he wanted to see Leora again. Even after their walk and the small test in the hidden garden path, he could not stop thinking about her. Something about her had made him feel alive in a way he had never felt before. As he walked along the glowing pathways, he noticed Leora waiting near a bridge that arched over a stream of bright, shifting water. She smiled when she saw him, her golden eyes shining in the morning light. Alex felt his heart beat faster. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning," she replied in the soft human phrases she had learned. "Are you ready?" Alex frowned slightly. "Ready for what?" Leora's smile grew. "The challenge, real challenge, not just the maze." Alex's stomach tightened. "A challenge, what kind?" "You will see," she said, turning and walking toward a part of the garden he had never explored. "Come if you dare." He followed her carefully. The new path was darker and narrower, and the plants seemed wilder. Strange vines twisted together, and glowing flowers leaned into the path, blocking his view. Small creatures scurried and fluttered through the air, some stopping to watch him as he passed. The atmosphere was quiet but tense, and Alex felt a thrill run through him. This was no ordinary work. After a few minutes, they reached a clearing. In the center, a large machine had crashed, its parts broken and scattered. Sparks flickered from a few exposed wires, and the machine emitted a low, strange hum. Alex recognized it immediately. It was a hover maintenance unit, designed to help the garden stay alive and moving. If it stopped working, part of the garden could be damaged. Leora pointed at the machine. "It must be fixed," she said softly, "quickly before more is hurt." Alex nodded, kneeling near the machine. He inspected the damage. The wiring was twisted, some panels were broken, and a few glowing conduits were leaking energy. This was more than a simple repair. He had to be careful. One mistake and he could make it worse. "Can you do it?" Leora asked, her voice quiet but urgent. "I will try," Alex said. "Don't worry." He pulled out his tools and began working. First, he examined the wiring. The patterns were different from anything he had seen on Earth, but the principles were the same. Conductors carried energy, and the circuits needed to be connected. He took a deep breath and began untangling the wires, carefully following their paths. Leora watched him closely, leaning forward. "Your hands are steady," she whispered. "Other humans would panic." Alex smiled slightly, even while concentrating. "Humans are used to solving problems," he said. "We think fast." He worked quickly but carefully. Using a small tool, he adjusted a broken panel and connected two exposed conduits. Sparks flew, but he kept calm, knowing exactly where to place his hands. Slowly, the machine hummed more steadily. Good, good, Leora said softly. She moved closer, pointing to another broken part. Here, this panel must connect perfectly. Alex nodded, kneeling again. The panel was heavy, but he used a small lever to align it with the rest of the machine. His fingers worked quickly, connecting wires and securing bolts. The machine's hum grew stronger, and the lights on it began to glow steadily instead of flickering. Suddenly, a loud noise came from the bushes behind them. Alex froze, turning toward the sound. A group of rogue creatures had entered the garden, attracted by the noise of the broken machine. They were larger than the small creatures he had seen before, with sharp claws and glowing eyes. They hissed and moved toward the machine, curious but dangerous. "Watch out!" Leora whispered, stepping back slightly. Alex's heart raced. He could not run, the machine was not finished, but he noticed a small stack of stones nearby. He grabbed a few and threw them toward the creatures, not to hurt them, but to scare them away. The creatures paused, startled, and then hissed louder. "They are strong," Leora said softly. "You must be careful." Alex nodded. He worked faster now, finishing the connections and tightening the last bolts. The machine's lights glowed steadily and the hum became smooth. With a final adjustment, he pressed a small lever and the machine whirred to life, its energy flowing evenly through the garden. The creatures froze, sensing the restored energy. Slowly, they backed away, disappearing into the shadows. Alex exhaled, feeling relief wash over him. Leora stepped forward, her eyes shining. "You saved the machine and the garden," she whispered. "No alien could do it like you." Alex felt proud, but also surprised. He had only done what he knew how to do. "I just fixed it," he said softly. "You do more than fix," she said. "You think you care, that is human and strong and different." Alex looked at her, feeling a warmth in his chest. He realized that she was not just impressed by his skill. She admired him for being human. For thinking, for caring, for doing what others might not even try. As they walked back along the path, Leora stayed close, observing him. "You are brave," she said softly. "Other humans would run, you face danger and help." Alex smiled slightly. "I am not perfect," he said. "I make mistakes, but I try to help." She nodded. "That is enough for me." They reached a small resting area near the bridge. Alex sat down, exhausted but satisfied. Leora sat beside him, her golden eyes watching him carefully. "Tell me," she said softly, "why do you help?" Alex thought for a moment. "I don't know exactly," he said. "I guess I like seeing things work. I like helping people and creatures and even machines. It makes me feel alive." Leora nodded slowly. "You are strange and good and brave. I like that." Alex laughed quietly. "I am just human," he said. "Nothing special." "You are special to me," she whispered. Alex's heart raced. He had never felt this way before. A human and an alien princess sitting together, sharing a small moment in a vast world. It felt impossible, yet real. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded from the garden. Red lights flashed, and a deep hum filled the air. Alex and Leora looked around, tense. Something was wrong. A part of the garden was collapsing. The ground shook slightly and glowing plants toppled over. Alex jumped to his feet. "We have to help," he shouted. He ran toward the danger, Leora following him. The garden's structure was unstable and several machines were failing. Alex's mind raced. He had to fix them before more damage happened. He grabbed a small toolkit and began working on the nearest machine. Sparks flew and wires hissed, but he stayed calm. Leora moved beside him, pointing to broken panels and fallen conduits. Together they worked quickly, communicating with gestures and soft words. "You fast but careful," Leora whispered. "You help too," Alex said. "We can do this together." They worked side by side, fixing one machine after another. The rogue creatures appeared again, curious but not attacking. Alex noticed them and used small noises to guide them away from the damaged areas. Leora helped, moving carefully to redirect the creatures. After what felt like hours, the machines were stable and the garden stopped shaking. Alex wiped sweat from his brow. Leora leaned against him slightly, breathing heavily. "You saved the garden," she whispered. "You are truly different." Alex smiled, exhausted but happy. "We saved it together," he said softly. She looked at him, her golden eyes shining. "Yes, together," she said. "I trust you." Alex felt a warmth spread through him, trust, admiration, connection. He had not only fixed machines and solved problems, but he had earned her respect. And more than that, he had earned a place in her thoughts. As they walked back toward the safe part of the garden, Alex realized something important. Humans were small in the universe, fragile compared to aliens and their power. But humans had something else: curiosity, ingenuity, compassion, the ability to see problems, to think, to care, and to act. Leora noticed this too. She had said it before, "You're different." Now, after the challenge and the danger, she understood what that meant. Humans could do things aliens could not with strength or size, but with heart and mind. Alex looked at her and she looked back. They both knew that this was only the beginning. The challenges of this world were many, but together they could face them. And somewhere deep inside, Alex felt that humans had a place here too. Not just as workers or visitors, but as beings capable of change, connection, and courage. And for the first time, he felt that being human was something to be proud of. The day after the garden crisis, Alex woke early, his mind still buzzing from the events of yesterday. He had never faced so much danger and responsibility in his life. Fixing the machines, calming the creatures, and keeping the garden safe had tested him in ways Earth had never done. Yet, the thought of Leora waiting for him made him feel alive. He packed his tools carefully and made his way to the garden, moving along the glowing paths. The sun had not yet fully risen, and the plants shimmered in soft colors. Small creatures scurried around, chirping quietly. Alex felt a strange calm in the morning, even though he knew today might bring more challenges. When he arrived, Leora was already there, sitting on a low ledge near a stream. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. Her golden eyes seemed brighter in the soft morning light. "Good morning," Alex said softly. "Good morning," Leora replied. "Are you ready for today?" Alex frowned slightly. "Ready for what?" She stood and turned toward a part of the garden he had never explored. The trees here were taller, with thick trunks that glowed softly. The paths were narrower and more complicated. Strange plants leaned over the walkways, some with soft, glowing thorns. "Today is important," she said. "You must be careful." Alex nodded. "I will," he said. "I can handle it." They walked together along the path. The air felt tense, and the light was dimmer under the tall trees. Small sounds echoed from the plants, and Alex noticed movement in the shadows. Leora's eyes scanned the area constantly, alert. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly beneath their feet. Alex stopped and looked around. "What was that?" he asked. "Not safe," Leora whispered. "Something coming." Before Alex could react, a loud crash echoed through the garden. A group of rogue creatures burst from the shadows. They were larger than any Alex had seen, with sharp claws and glowing eyes. Some had spiky shells, and others moved on long, jointed legs. They hissed and growled, charging toward them. Alex's heart raced. He had faced creatures before, but never like this. He quickly scanned the area. They were on a narrow path, and there was no easy escape. He had to think fast. "Stay close," he said to Leora. "I will protect you." Leora nodded, her eyes wide but calm. She moved closer to him. Alex grabbed a heavy tool from his pack, a small wrench he had used for the drones, and held it tightly. The creatures lunged, but Alex used quick movements to dodge them. He swung the wrench carefully, not to hurt them, but to push them back. The creatures hissed and skidded on the glowing moss, surprised by his speed and precision. Leora helped too. She moved with grace, using her small staff to push creatures aside. Together, they formed a strange team, human ingenuity and alien agility. Alex realized that they complemented each other. One of the larger creatures leapt toward Alex. He ducked just in time, rolling to the side. Using his tool, he hooked the creature's leg and pushed it away from them. It stumbled and fell, hissing angrily. "You are strong," Leora whispered, standing beside him. "But careful, more coming." Alex nodded, breathing heavily. He noticed a small opening in the trees ahead, a path that led to a safer area. He pointed toward it. "There we go." They ran together, dodging the creatures as they moved. Alex's mind worked quickly, calculating each step. He used small tools and rocks to create barriers, slowing the creatures down. Leora guided him, pointing out obstacles and safe spots. Finally, they reached a small clearing near a stream. The water glowed softly, and the trees leaned over it protectively. Alex and Leora stopped, panting, and looked back. The creatures were still coming, but they were slower now, confused by the barriers Alex had set. "We need a plan," Alex said. "We can't fight them all." Leora nodded. "Yes, human, you think fast, you help more than others." Alex looked around and noticed a fallen tree nearby. It was thick and long. He gestured to Leora. "We can use this tree to block the path." Leora understood immediately. Together, they lifted the tree and rolled it into place, blocking the narrow path behind them. The creatures hissed and clawed at the tree, but it held. Alex took a deep breath. Now we move forward. They continued along the path, carefully navigating around glowing plants and small streams. The creatures followed for a while, but eventually stopped at the blocked path. Alex realized that their clever use of tools and strategy had worked. After a few minutes, they reached another clearing. In the center was a damaged machine, its panels broken and wires exposed. Sparks flew from the circuits, and the machine's hum was unstable. Alex recognized it immediately, a maintenance unit that controlled the water flow in this part of the garden. If it failed, part of the garden would dry up. "I fix this," Alex said. He dropped to his knees and pulled out his toolkit. Leora stepped beside him, pointing to the damaged parts. "You can do it," she whispered. "I trust you." Alex smiled slightly. Her trust made him feel stronger. He examined the wiring, remembering the patterns from yesterday. He carefully connected the exposed conduits and secured the panels. Sparks flew, but he stayed calm, working quickly and carefully. Leora helped by holding panels in place and guiding him when wires twisted unexpectedly. Together, they worked like a single team. Slowly, the machine hummed steadily, its lights glowing bright. The water flowed smoothly again, and the plants leaned toward it, healthy and vibrant. Alex leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. Leora smiled at him, her golden eyes bright with admiration. "You saved the garden again," she whispered. "No alien could do it like you." Alex laughed softly. "We did it together," he said. She nodded. "Yes, together." They stayed in the clearing for a moment, catching their breath. The garden was quiet now, safe. Alex looked at Leora and realized something important. Humans were small, fragile, and different from aliens. But humans had something the aliens often lacked: ingenuity, courage, and care. The ability to think, to act, and to protect others in ways that strength alone could not. "You are truly different," Leora said softly. "I like that. I trust you." Alex smiled, feeling warmth in his chest. "I am just human," he said. "I try to help, that's all." "You do more," she whispered. "More than expected. You think you care, that is rare." They began walking back along the path, side by side. The sun had risen higher, casting soft light over the glowing plants. Alex felt tired but happy. He had faced danger, solved problems, and earned the trust of an alien princess. As they walked, Leora spoke softly. "I want to see more of your world and more of you." Alex's heart raced. "I will show you," he said, "everything I can." They reached the edge of the safe garden area. Leora paused and looked at him, her expression serious. "Remember, human being different is good. But danger comes often. You must be ready." "I will," Alex said. "I always try to be ready." She smiled faintly. "I know you make me proud." Alex felt a strange happiness. No human had ever made him feel this way. And now he realized he was not just surviving in this alien world. He was making a difference. He was proving that humans were capable of courage, intelligence, and care. As they parted for the day, Alex looked at Leora and she looked at him. Something unspoken passed between them: trust, respect, admiration, and perhaps something more. Alex knew that the challenges of this world were far from over. There would be more danger, more tests, and more unexpected situations. But he also knew something else. Humans were not weak. Humans were capable of incredible things, and together he and Leora could face anything. The garden was safe for now, the machines fixed, and the creatures redirected. But the universe was vast, and Alex understood that bigger challenges were coming. Still, he felt ready. He had Leora's trust, his own skills, and the human spirit. That was enough. And in that quiet moment, walking through the glowing garden with Leora by his side, Alex realized something important. Being human, small and fragile as he was, could still change the world. One act at a time, one problem at a time, one life at a time. He smiled. The adventure was just beginning. The next morning, Alex woke before the sun. His body ached from the past days, but his mind was awake and alert. He could not stop thinking about Leora. She had trusted him, walked beside him through danger, and even shared moments of laughter and quiet wonder. For a human so far from home, it felt like a miracle. He packed his tools carefully, checking each one twice. Today felt different. There was a tension in the air, a subtle hum beneath the garden's soft glow. Alex could sense that something was about to happen. When he arrived at the floating garden, Leora was waiting for him near the central bridge. Her golden eyes met his instantly, and she smiled softly. "Good morning," she said in the soft, broken human words she had learned. "Good morning," Alex replied, smiling back. He felt a strange excitement in his chest. "Are you ready for today?" "Yes," she said. "Today is important. You must be careful." Alex nodded. "I will, I promise." They began walking together through the garden. The sun had just risen, and the light glowed softly across the paths. The small creatures scuttled around them, and the glowing plants leaned toward the light. It was beautiful, but Alex's senses were alert. He could feel that something was not right. As they moved deeper into the garden, the ground trembled slightly. Alex looked around. "Do you feel that?" he asked. "Yes, something coming," Leora whispered. Her eyes scanned the shadows carefully. "Big danger." Before Alex could respond, a loud crashing sound echoed through the trees. A massive creature, larger than any Alex had seen, burst into the clearing. Its body was armored with thick, spiky plates, and its glowing eyes fixed on them. The air seemed to vibrate with its roar. Alex's heart pounded. He had faced creatures before, but this one was enormous. Its claws could crush trees, and its teeth could tear through metal. He realized instantly that this was more than just a test. This was a real threat, to him, to Leora, and to the garden. "Stay close," Alex said, gripping a heavy tool in his hand. "I will protect you," Leora nodded, stepping beside him. "I trust you," she whispered. The creature lunged, and Alex ducked just in time. He swung his tool, hitting the creature's leg to make it stumble. It hissed loudly, and Alex could feel the vibrations through the ground. He realized that brute force alone would not work. He had to be smart. "Leora, help me," he shouted. "We need to trap it." She nodded immediately. Using her staff, she guided the creature toward a narrow part of the path, where thick vines and glowing plants created natural barriers. Alex realized this was their chance. He grabbed large stones and branches, using them to create a small barricade. The creature tried to push through, but the combination of the barriers and Leora's guidance slowed it down. "Good thinking," Leora whispered. "Humans think fast." Alex smiled briefly, even while concentrating. "We can do this together," he said. The creature roared and lashed out with its claws, breaking part of the barricade. Alex ducked, grabbed a glowing panel from the broken machine nearby, and used it to shield them. Sparks flew as the panel met the creature's armor. Leora quickly moved to push more debris into place, creating a stronger barrier. Alex noticed a weak spot in the creature's armor near its chest where the glowing plates were thinner. He pointed it out to Leora. "There, we can trap it there." Leora nodded, understanding instantly. Together they worked quickly, pushing vines and stones toward the weak spot. The creature roared and tried to escape, but it was caught. Alex and Leora coordinated perfectly. He held a panel to block one side while she guided vines and branches to trap the other. The creature struggled but could not move. "We did it!" Alex shouted, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Leora smiled, her golden eyes shining with admiration. "Yes, together," she said. For a moment they stood quietly, catching their breath. The massive creature was trapped safely, unable to harm anyone. Alex realized that their combined intelligence and quick thinking had saved not only themselves, but also the garden. "You are amazing," Leora whispered. "No alien could do it like you," Alex smiled, feeling proud. "We did it together," he said. Leora stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You are truly different human," she said softly. "I trust you with everything." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. No human had ever said that to him. And here, an alien princess, someone from a world so far from his own, had entrusted him with her safety. It was more than he could have imagined. As they walked back along the safe paths, Alex noticed the garden beginning to recover. The plants leaned toward the light again, and the small creatures returned to their usual spots. The energy in the garden felt calm, almost grateful. "You saved more than machines," Leora whispered. "You saved the garden and me." Alex shook his head slightly. "I just did what I could," he said. "Humans help because it's right. We don't always know the danger, but we try." She looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting admiration and something deeper, a connection he could feel but not fully understand. "You are special human. You think and care and act. You are different in a way I respect and admire." Alex felt a strange emotion he could not name. Pride, joy, something stronger. He realized that he had not only survived and helped, but he had earned a place in her thoughts, in her trust, and perhaps even in her heart. They reached the edge of the central garden, where the paths opened to the city view. Towers glowed softly, bridges curved like ribbons, and the sun reflected off the water far below. Alex looked at the view, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "You see the world differently," Leora whispered. "Humans see small things and care, aliens see power patterns, but not always heart. You show heart." Alex smiled. "That's what humans do. We care, we try to help, even when it's hard." Leora nodded slowly. "That is why I like you, why I trust you." Alex felt his chest tighten. He realized then that being human, small and fragile as he was compared to the aliens, mattered more than he had ever thought. Human courage, intelligence, and compassion could make a difference even here on a world so different from his own. For a long moment they stood together, looking at the city below. The garden was safe, the creatures calm, and the machines working. Alex felt exhausted but proud. He had faced danger, solved problems, and earned respect. But more than that, he had earned trust, an honor rarer than any medal or reward. Leora stepped closer, her golden eyes meeting his. "I want to know more of your world and more of you," she whispered. Alex smiled, feeling a deep joy. "I will show you everything," he said. "You will see what humans can do." She smiled faintly, leaning slightly toward him. "I believe in you," she said softly. Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. It was not just pride or joy, it was connection, respect, trust, and perhaps something stronger, something he could not yet name. As they walked back along the paths, side by side, Alex realized something important. Humans were small, fragile, and different from aliens in many ways. But humans had something else: ingenuity, courage, care, and the ability to act even when the odds seemed impossible. Leora had seen it in him. She had trusted him. And in return, he had shown her that even a single human could make a difference in an alien world. The sun rose higher, casting golden light over the garden. The city below glowed softly, reflecting the harmony of life. Alex and Leora walked together, no longer just human and alien, but a team, connected by trust, respect, and the quiet power of courage and care. For Alex, being human had never felt so important. For Leora, seeing the human's heart had never felt so meaningful. And for the vast universe around them, a small act of courage and intelligence had proven that even the smallest being could shine brightly. As they reached the edge of the garden, Alex turned to Leora. "No matter what comes, I will protect this world and you," he said softly. Leora smiled, her eyes shining. "And I will trust you always," she whispered. The wind blew gently through the garden, carrying the soft scents of glowing flowers and fresh water. Alex looked at the princess, and she looked back. In that quiet moment, human and alien stood together, stronger for each other, ready to face whatever the universe could bring. And for the first time, Alex truly felt that being human was not a weakness. It was a strength: curiosity, courage, compassion, and heart. In a world so different, humans could shine, and he had proven it. The adventure had changed him, and it had changed Leora too. Together they walked forward, side by side, into a future neither of them could predict, but one they would face together. The garden glowed around them, alive with color and life. And Alex, a single human in a world of wonders, felt unstoppable.